Hi everyone, it's Shar and welcome back to my channel. It has been so long since I recorded something, mainly because The Sims has been broken, y'all, and continues to stay broken, but we will get to that in a moment. I was on vacation with my family in Florida. We had a really great time. Unfortunately, I caught COVID and I was recovering from COVID for the past week or so. Thankfully, I am feeling much better and back to my usual self. I had another video that I was going to post, like a create a sim for the high school years pack, which I still haven't gotten to play because my game has pretty much been broken since the game came out. So I instead decided to do kind of like a starter home. Now this house does not end up being starter price because y'all know me, okay? It was $30,000, and what you will see is that this house is kind of like what I think of as a starter home, not in terms of the Sims being like under 20 grand, but more so of the case of maybe your first home that you move into, 2 bedrooms, pretty small but cozy in this neighborhood in Willow Creek. What happens, this is the neighborhood next door, like that little tree area takes you to like the fairy garden area, so that's the neighborhood that we're in, but it's supposed to be like a bunch of houses up for sale in the market. Now, one thing that really annoys me about playing in The Sims is, of course, I play rags to riches style. So that usually means that I'm building my sim a house from scratch, but sometimes I like it to be more realistic and that they're moving in to their first home that they've saved for so long. And usually in real life, if you're going to buy a house, it's probably not going to be fully furnished, but it's also probably not going to be fully gutted, which are your only 2 options if you're playing The Sims. It's to move into a house that's fully furnished or to move into a house that is fully gutted. No kitchen, no bathroom, no walls, no anything. I wanted to have something that would be more fun for the Shar Save File, to have houses where there is a kitchen and the bathrooms are all fully furnished, but the rest of the house is not. There's a floor plan layout, the exterior of the house is done, and then you can slowly add to the house and furnish it over time, which I think is more realistic to how I would play, but also how life generally works. As I said, you're probably not going to move into a fully furnished house. Oftentimes, homes are staged, but unless you negotiate into your contract that you're going to purchase that furniture, and if that's an option, it's not going to come furnished. So I'm really happy with how this house turned out. I'm definitely using a Pinterest photo for inspiration because I love the idea of this, but your girl is not an architect. I hate doing architecture and landscaping and figuring out floor plans, which you will see in a moment in this build. So instead, I was just looking at Pinterest for ideas and inspiration. I found a couple of inspo pics, didn't copy anything exactly, and ended up doing my own thing along the way, but definitely use that as a good starting point. Now, The Sims being broken, that's what I want to talk about. So The Sims has been completely broken for a long time. Let me just go through some of the bugs that I've been experiencing, just in case you've been experiencing them and are wondering what's going on here. Like, is this just my save file? Am I imagining it? You're not imagining it. So the problem I've had for the longest time is what's known as the save problem. It's when you go to save your game and instead of saving, it just stays in that saving screen with a little wheel loading for hours. Like, just does not move. Your game has effectively crashed, but it's not actually crashing. It's just going to stay stuck on that saving screen. As you can imagine, if you haven't experienced the bug, it's extremely annoying because here you are trying to save your project, save your process and exit the game. And once you hit save, it essentially freezes and you've lost all of your progress anyway. So that's an extremely frustrating bug. I'm also still having the bug where I can't click anyone to travel with if they are not on the lot with me. That was supposed to be fixed a while ago with the last patch. It worked for me for about a day and then sadly came right back into my game where if there is not a sim on the lot with me, I cannot travel with them. Of course, that impacts gameplay because Your sim is dating, has friends, has family members, and you can't take them with you anywhere if they're not already on the lot with you. Another glitch that I've been experiencing is time going backwards. And by that, I mean anytime that I've entered Create a Sim, there's always a possibility, and I experienced this on Winterfest, which was annoying because I had went into Create a Sim to give the family I was playing with matching Christmas pajamas. And when I exited Create a Sim, time had jumped all the way back to a few hours before Winterfest. With that came another bug, and that was all of the Christmas decorations that I had purchased for my Sims and spent long sim hours decorating had completely disappeared because I'd gone backward in time. In addition, people are experiencing items in their homes disappearing. Think things like doorways, stairs, various objects. They're there one moment and then they're not. You would have seen this in an episode of my Whimsy Stories Legacy Challenge where Lily's tablet literally disappeared out of her hands, just went boop into thin air and gone. And obviously that's a problem because you don't get that money back in The Sims. You have to replace the item, and it also is just really confusing as to where the heck that object just went when you just had it a moment ago. Another bug I have been experiencing, because there have been many bugs, has been an issue with the streaming station. Now, not all simmers use this very often. If you don't have Get Famous, you don't even have this object. Now, High School Years did come with its own kind of streaming thing. It's a computer where you can stream from, but in Get Famous, there is an actual streaming deck that you can upgrade and make YouTube videos from, and I was using that for the gameplay I happened to be doing, and I also wanted to do it for Not So Berry. But unfortunately, what I have been finding is that whenever my sim is recording a video, they would get all the way to the end of recording that video, and then the streaming setup would glitch. It would just completely not acknowledge that they had been recording. It wouldn't give me the option to name the video, and it would not be in the Sims video inventory, meaning that I had just spent hours and hours and hours building or creating videos with my Sims, and it just disappeared. Obviously, that's frustrating because no one likes for the objects to glitch, and also no one likes for your Sims queue to clear, which I know that some people have been experiencing. I have not had a chance to play with the High School Years pack. I'm hoping to play with it soon, and I'm honestly getting to the point where I don't think we're going to get a patch anytime soon, which is ridiculous because the game is so broken for thousands of Sims players, and it seems like it's just going to stay like that until the next patch is out. And even then, whenever we get a patch, there tends to be bugs introduced. I think I'm just going to play High School Years, but something that I did notice when I was just playing with the can I make 100,000 simoleons in 3 days video that I did on my channel, the fashion thing, the trendy thing, it didn't work for me. My sim just could not do it. I eventually figured it out, and I found that the issue was that I had to replace the mailbox. Obviously, that's annoying because it should work with every single mailbox, and if there's a mailbox on your lot that your sim can access, they should be able to use it. If you had also been experiencing that issue where your sim just could not use trendy, you couldn't ship to buyer at all, switch out the mailbox and move it to somewhere else on the lot. That does tend to work. But as someone who loves The Sims and who makes Sims videos, it's very frustrating for me to have a game that I've paid so much money for. I have almost every expansion pack, literally $1,000+ put into The Sims 4, to have so many bugs and glitches. And that's not intended to complain, but more, I guess, to bring awareness in that not okay, but also if you are experiencing these bugs, to know that it's not your game specifically that's broken. It's not just you. These are issues that other simmers are experiencing, and I'm really hopeful that they are all resolved sometime soon. But if Dine Out and My Wedding Stories are anything to go by, good enough is probably going to be where we get to, which again is just not okay. But anyway, back to the build. I finally figured out the layout of the house that I am kind of happy with. I think the house is rather small, but I did choose a smaller lot intentionally. It's a pretty expensive house considering that it's not really furnished, but there's a lot of landscaping and I wanted it to look pretty from the exterior, and also decided to turn this little corner in the house into the kitchen area. And I just think it would be so fun for your sim to move in here and for you to like paint the walls and change things out. Feel free to completely gut the home as well, but I just think it's more realistic for you to move into a home and for there already to be a kitchen and a bathroom. It should just be something that is part of the household. I go with an all black color scheme in the bathroom, and then I go back outside and focus a lot on the exterior. And you saw me throughout the video making lots of little tweaks, trying to expand the house. I initially wanted it to have a pretty big backyard with a pool, but obviously the lot was not big enough for that, and the bedrooms would have been rather small. By flipping the floor plan around in here like I did, just switching where the kitchen and the bedrooms are, I ended up having much bigger bedrooms, which I was super happy with, and I was able to move the bathroom towards the kitchen living area. Now there is a pretty lengthy hallway in here, and you can figure out what it is that you want to do with that and how you want to furnish it. I typically don't like that, but I wanted something that felt like a simple starter home, not anything too complex. Those little 2 dormers that you see at the top actually are functional rooms. They connect to each other in kind of like an H shape. Your sim can go in there and use that for storage so long as they have a way to get up there. You can feel free to do what you want with that. In my mind, it's like a little storage junk area, and maybe in the future it would expand into like a kid's or a teen's bedroom, whatever kind of gameplay that you are doing. Here we come to Shar is really bad at landscaping and that I could not figure out what I want to do, and I just tend to lean towards the very colorful. That is my usual aesthetic. I wanted to outline this with like a little ring of rocks, then decided that I didn't like how that looked. It was very harsh against these super soft colorful flowers. Try to do fencing, it didn't work. I also ended up adding a swing to the backyard and a little fire pit between the trees because fire hazards, what is that? Who cares in The Sims 4? But I didn't go too much with the furniture outside because obviously it's supposed to be a home that your sim just moved into, and maybe there would be a swing in the backyard, maybe there would be like an old fire pit in there, but there wouldn't be like a full barbecue and a full outdoor dining set and like lounge chairs. Like, that's just not going to be in the yard. That's something that your sim can work towards over time. This home will remain empty in my save file because it's supposed to be something that your sim can move into. While building my save file, I've realized that there definitely should be quite a few empty lots in each of the world. Not a ton, but some homes that your sims can move into. You will find fully furnished homes, but you'll also find homes like these where there is a full kitchen and bathrooms already done, but the rest of the house and how you furnish it is completely up to you, especially if you're not a builder, but you are a decorator. So we're coming to the end of this video. I don't have much else to update you on other than you're going to expect Not So Berry and the Legacy Stories Challenge and Whimsy Stories pretty soon, because I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and play the game even though it's broken. Another glitch I forgot to mention but has been so annoying is, you know, when they did the neighborhood stories update and Sims would ask you questions about like, should I quit my job? Should I go for the promotion? Should I say yes to this engagement? Should I have a baby? The try for the baby one has been coming up in my gameplay literally 4 or 5 times an hour. Every single time that I play, and that means I get that notification literally like 20 times in just one day of gameplay, and it's always from the exact same person and ultimately results in nothing, and I'm just like, stop asking me. Oh my gosh, it is so irritating and definitely is a glitch and should not be happening. The same person would not ask you if they should have a baby 5 times a day. Anyway, I also put in these fireflies around the yard. I switched to night mode to make sure it was bright enough. It ultimately wasn't, so I added some more lights, and that comes to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.